According to the legends of old, someone will always find something to get mad about. And in this instance, it's kind of a follow up to the previously discussed on this channel anger or frustration towards One Punch Man Season 3. And you might be wondering, oh geez, was it another bad episode? You know, this time, interestingly enough, it actually wasn't even anything official. What really kicked everything off here was this animation that wasn't made by, I don't know if you say this guy's name is Master? I don't know, I'm sorry. But he posted this animation on Twitter from somebody else, and it got, as you can tell, 70,000 likes. It got 6.4 million views, and he was like, dude, this animation is crazy. And I mean, there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening. And as people do, they got a lot of opinions about it. And personally, you know, I don't really find it to be an issue. What really kicked things off was that a tweet that got about half of the likes of the main tweet was somebody going, while the animation is very skillful, it lacks an action direction. The idea here seems to be spamming impact frames every now and then, without any sense of pacing and overall scene construction. So, this is what really kind of caused multi-day discourse. I wasn't initially going to make a video about this because I thought it was going to be a one-day and done thing. But we're on day 3 now, I think, right? Yeah, we're on day 3, it's still going, and Jesus Christ, people can't let up. A lot of people are taking the stance that, you know, this is a project made by fans, this isn't an anime production. What I see here, this is highly impressive action featuring background animation, impressive animated effects, and some character acting in some parts. Sure, it doesn't have a main vision, but hey, they did what they, and I assume the next tweets did what they could, with the resources they had. The issue here isn't that somebody is criticizing a fan animation, in my opinion. The issue here is that there is a group of people that, one, want to very clearly tear down this animation. As you can see, this guy says no pacing, no direction, no flow, it's literal visual noise. How is your jaw dropped from this slop? If you told me this was AI, I would agree. Not to imply that this is kind of like the average criticism, because this isn't. This is just a psychotic post. But there are a lot of people coming to defend or criticize this animation, and this post in general is just the main one. Obviously, it's a massive post. It has 1 million views, right? A lot of other people came through, professional animators came through, and they started talking about what this animation got wrong. And there's a particular reason why people came to criticize this animation, and it's because you have people, you have grifters like Nicholas Light, who come in and they make a reaction video to the fan animation saying Bandai Namco's paying the wrong people. This is the official Cosmic Garo versus Saitama fight, because we all know the filth we're going to end up getting from JC staff in 2027. So you have the people who really, really did not like One Punch Man Season 3 to a psychotic extent. You can see him being even more classy in the replies. You could give them 40 years, you're not getting much close to this. Nothing close to this anyway. Yeah, sure, okay, whatever, man. So you have all these people who are looking for any reason possible to shit on One Punch Man Season 3. And what you get in response are these people who are coming through and picking apart the animation. So it kind of leaves us in an interesting part, because rather than being an actual nuanced discussion about how this animation is, the things that it does right, the things that it does wrong, what it more feels like is that this is like a proxy where it's like we've re-entered Vietnam, if Vietnam was a Twitter animation, right? It's a proxy battle between people who know what they're talking about and want to, in some ways, stick up for JC staff because they know that the circumstances they're in are tumultuous, and it's the people who will do anything they possibly can to shit on JC staff because of the shit anime that they've been releasing. And the original poster, and I should have clarified this at the start, sorry. Chromafire, I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know who he is. I have no problem with him. He even states this much when he says, yes, that's why I'm not overly critical of it. My post is targeted towards those who are downplaying professional work by saying this is miles better. This is not a proper replacement for the poor quality of One Punch Man. So, just like this person says, they say this is a response to grifters like Nicholas Light, who are coming in and using this as a cudgel against official work. And to me personally, I don't like how this fan animation is being used. Massively polarizing viewpoints on a cool fan project, because people want to use it as a cudgel, and then other people want to come in and project, I think, personally, a little too hard on the animation because of those people who are using it as a cudgel. And I think a lot of people are primed to perceive this animation in a particular way because of that One Punch Man drama, and I think that is unfortunate. I know this is a little scary, the idea of nuance. I do think that this Chroma Fire person is being a little bit reactionary when it comes to the people who are criticizing Season 3, but I don't think that that makes their criticism of the fan animation invalid, if that makes sense. Like, that's fine, you can say these things, it's not a big deal. But then, of course, you got people who are coming through saying animation fans are taking this incredible piece of work way too seriously. It's a fan animation, for fuck's sake. I understand a bit of criticism, but full on hating, really. And I don't know how to phrase it. I feel like we can recognize that it's a fan project, so it's going to have a bunch of amateurs on it, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You got to start somewhere, right? But I also think that going, hey, shitting on this because it's a fan animation, it's like we're kind of lowering the level of the work that they've done to say that it can't be criticized because, hey, this was done by amateurs. And that's something I don't appreciate either. So, this is what I mean. This whole thing, it feels like a proxy war between multiple people who feel certain types of ways about One Punch Man Season 3 who are using this animation to fight over it. And that's why I feel bad for the people who made the animation. Not because they're being criticized. I feel like you are free to criticize whatever the fuck you want. It doesn't matter. But I feel bad that they got caught in this crossfire between people who know how the industry works that I feel are just projecting a little too hard because of people like Nicholas Light and other grifters who are making a substantial bag by using this animation against the official work, even though the animators who made this had no intention of doing that. They had no intention of making this to overshadow the official work or anything like that. And some of the takes you have in response to the people being critical is, this app is filled with hey grok and AI slap bros tweets nonstop, then we get actual peak human art, and we're still bringing it down? Nah. And it's like, dude, I don't know, man. I feel like, criticizing art is like a human thing to do. So the idea of criticizing human-made art is like human-on-human interaction. So I don't find it a proper analogy to bring up grok and AI art into this conversation, personally. And the guy who made the tweet that kind of started all this, he made a YouTube video talking about the response that it got. And I definitely have some issues with some of the ways that he talks about this fan animation.
All this hate for AI, everybody's talking about AI art stealing all the artist jobs, and then you have a team actually create something with no AI, and you guys still shit on it. You guys are just shitting on everything, and it sucks. It makes everybody's life suck. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Why don't we start encouraging people and being nicer to each other?
And you know, so first of all, like I already said, I don't think the AI thing is necessarily a good analogy. I can agree to the extent that I think that these people would have benefited if they had maybe led their criticism with what this fan animation did right. Because it's a very popular animation, a lot of people are interested in it, and I think if you wanted to tackle it from a more educational perspective, you could have opened it with praise to capture more of an audience for your criticisms. However, as we established earlier in the video, some people went into this fan animation looking for things to criticize because of bad faith actors, and I think that's just unfortunate. But I do agree that, you know, could have said something nice, wouldn't have hurt. It's fine.
In any case, because this video clip was blowing up, a very large portion of the anime community decided to jump in and give their feedback and criticism about this fan animation. And this started an entire controversy because it's like, well, why the hell are you criticizing fan animations? And then people are like, well, why can't I criticize it? If you're putting your art on the internet, it's open to criticism. And it's like, yeah, but it's just stupid. It's so dumb to criticize a fan animation when they're not asking for it and they made it.
He'll explain more in a little bit, but I take issue with this inherent devaluing of fan animation, especially because criticism is one of the main ways that you can improve. And even though I think that the people who, or at least some of the people who are criticizing this animation, were acting kind of reactionary, that doesn't mean that the criticism itself is inherently bad. And if these fan animators, I'm assuming they're not just doing this like, oh, this is my first day on the job, here I put this out and then I'm never going to touch it again. These are people who like animating. Maybe there's people who want to professionally animate. That criticism can go a long way, especially when it comes to people knowledgeable about the industry, professional animators, and so on and so forth. So, I don't necessarily agree with this line of thinking, but let's let him give his analogy and such.
For free. It doesn't make any sense. I'm going to give you some analogies so you can understand why. Say you're hungry. You're outside and you're hungry and you're like, I'm hungry. And I walk over and I'm like, hey, here's a pizza for free. Take it. Now you take a bite of that pizza and you look me dead in the eye and you say, it could be better. Well, bitch! Now first we have to understand, why do we criticize things? The number one reason we criticize things is because it costs money and we want to know the criticism. Basically, we want to know the reviews so we know whether or not it's worth spending the money on it.
This is this is one of those arguments that if you think about it for a few seconds, it like immediately tumbles like a house of cards. So if the argument here is that people only criticize things so that other people can look and be like, okay, I'm not going to spend my money on this, or I will spend my money on this because I saw the reviews for it. And we have to follow that to its logical conclusion. If that's the case, why would you ever praise anything you paid no money for, right? Is it just purely because of something hollow, like, oh, well, it's positive and you're spreading good vibes? Like, you don't have to spend money on it, so why even talk about it? It's just a free product, so just consume it and never interact with it again, right? It's this double standard that a lot of people have when it comes to criticism. They always treat criticism as something like fundamentally bad or fundamentally wrong or fundamentally negative, when I don't think it has to be that way. Can it feel good to get criticized? No. I mean, of course not. It's just kind of like the human negativity bias, right? But I think that we're better than our inherent human biases. Me personally speaking, that's what I like to think. So I like to think that instead of hyper-fixating on, oh my god, this guy criticized me, I'm gonna turn into a corn cob and die. I think you can go, okay, I got criticized, I understand that this maybe, could hurt my feelings or something. Step away from it, come back to it, realize, or, if the criticism is honest, engage with it. Think about what it means, think about how it applies to your work, and you can grow from that. Which is why I refuse to accept the premise that a lot of people try to push, that criticism is an inherently negative thing. And now you're seeing it again here. The implication being that we criticize things to inform purchasing decisions. And you would argue, if you follow that logic, that criticizing things is potentially more harmful because if someone spends their money on it, well, then someone else will see it and be like, okay, I'm not spending my money on that. And then you kick the return on the investment of the work in the balls because now they have lower sales because you criticized it. Even though I don't think anyone would really agree with that premise, that's the same line of thinking that we have here. But again, the inherent hypocrisy is that if you paid no money for it, you shouldn't criticize it, because criticism is for the purposes of review to influence other people's decisions when it comes to purchases. That same thing should apply to positive reviews. If you didn't pay money for it, you shouldn't review it. Rather than like a Twitter fan animation, I think a good framework to think about this in is like a free video game. You know what I mean? No one would agree with this statement if it was about a free video game. Not a single person on this fucking planet would. I promise you, because I've played a lot of free games. I've played Hearthstone for a long time. There's a lot to criticize about that game. Oh man, but it's free though, right? So what are we criticizing? Because you're not influencing any purchases. So that's why I don't necessarily agree with this line of thinking.
But the difference here is that this is free. It's completely free. Like, you're not paying for anything. You chose to watch it with your time. The only reason that people criticize everything online is because of the anonymity. But in particular, the reason why people criticize this video in particular is because it was getting popular. The same people who say that I'm allowed to criticize anything don't criticize everything. They selectively criticize what's getting popular because they're trying to ride off the views.
So this argument I also take particular issue with, and I'm not going to watch the rest of the video because I'm not here to react Andy, steal all his content or whatever. If you want to see the rest of his arguments, evaluate them for yourself. Just go watch his fucking video, alright? Go some fucking balls! To synthesize the argument down into a small chunk, it would be, these people aren't criticizing everything. They selectively criticize things that are popular. And what I would say is, well, first of all, yeah, you don't criticize everything, because that's how criticism works. I read a lot of manga, okay? You guys don't know this? I say I'm not a consumer, and it's true. I'm not really a consumer. I read a bunch of slop. Do I go online and talk about it? No. I gotta pick my battles, dude. I'm a grown man who doesn't have unlimited time. I can't sit here and write, a full-length essay about everything I've ever consumed, especially when it's not popular, because what's the return on it for me? Nothing. So yeah, people will talk about popular things because there are more eyes on them. So intrinsically, there are going to be more people who are willing to criticize something. So like the math is kind of done backwards here. Rather than thinking people are criticizing this thing because it's popular, a good way to think about it is because it's popular, there's more people to talk about it, that are going to talk about it. And it's not just negativity, it's also positivity. People like to engage in the moment. People like to engage in the popular thing, okay? There's a reason why you see so much buzz about popular series, why you saw so much buzz about Freery and JJK or whatever the fuck. It's because people wanted to talk about it. It's not inherently because they went, oh, this thing's popular, so I'm going to talk about it. They just happened to know about it because it was popular, so then they consumed it. Then they had an opinion on it. That's how being popular works. There's more people are going to talk about your thing. I'll link the video down in the description if you want to watch more of it. But basically, if I had to synthesize my point, it would basically be that it's just like a shame that this is a proxy war started by a bunch of uneducated dumb fucks who are trying to make a lot of money off of slandering other people's work. And again, like I said in my previous video as well, it's not that you can't criticize One Punch Man Season 3. I just think it's unfortunate that these people got kind of like dragged into it just for like making something cool. My red-pilled, nuanced opinion is you can criticize the fan animation, just make sure you're not getting captured and having a little bit of or not being a little bit primed and reactionary because of people like Nicholas Light. And also, don't use the fan animation to attack the official work because they are made in entirely different circumstances. And it's like, the amount of different circumstances is fucking unfathomable. But also, don't baby the work so much that like you say that it can't be criticized, because that's just like robbing an opportunity for improvement from these people, which I don't really appreciate. That's all. Since it was still going, I thought I'd talk about it real quick. Hopefully what I was talking about made sense. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe for more. You can also check the description down below to become a member, which gives you benefits like early videos, membership badges, and cool custom emotes. You can join the Discord where we talk about ReZero, Kagurabachi, Jujutsu Kaisen, and all kind of stuff. Additionally, you can go to the channel store and pick up some awesome stickers made by our channel artist, so you can carry the power of Graphia with you on your water bottle. That's about it though. Thank you for watching. See ya.